The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 9th day of September, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by Peoples. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I got my days wrong. Teachers apparently returned yesterday. And students return to the public schools today. And we've got Shiloh, Phil's son, starting out on his first day of school. We've got Mason going back to school. We've got Amelia, Taylor's daughter, going back to school. And we wish all of the Daily Hour offspring a very happy school year. Yeah. Anyone else having first day of school? Well, if you are, you're probably not tuned in, right? You're probably crying as you let them go off and get their formal education. But is anyone experiencing the first day of school thing today? Obviously, the educators. And to the educators who tune in on a regular basis, sending you so much love and all the luck and warm thoughts that we can possibly send. So wishing all the educators who embark on a new school year an awesome start to the academic year, all right, folks, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Keishon Wilson on from Freisenbruch for another segment of Get Insured. He's going to be answering more questions about life insurance. And it's crazy because I remember after the last time he came, quite a few people reaching out saying, I still don't get life insurance. Like, what's the purpose of getting it if I'm going to be dead? And I don't think we're listening enough to understand the purpose, if that's one of the questions we're asking. So hopefully we can engage and get to a space that makes people more comfortable in understanding why life insurance is beneficial for themselves and their loved ones. The daily play is going to be, it's a remember when. Yeah, it's a remember when today. So a little bit of history for you. And folks, if you haven't already, please do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Well, folks, do I have something to tell you today? Suzanne Ingham says, super awesome Tuesday, Jamal and Maya. Loyal Hill are not happy with the spyware cameras back up. Oh, we've got to talk about that, Suzanne. But folks, something happened yesterday. And Suzanne says life insurance is to help your loved one, not you. Yeah, well, it's to help you help your loved one, right? You're the one that's helping them. So it is to kind of help you help them. But we'll get to the life insurance conversation. But folks, yesterday, there was a message that went out from the Ministry of Education off of the minister, and it says, "Dear parents and guardians, I am pleased to welcome you to the 2025-26 school year. The Bermuda public school system remains committed to strengthening both student learning and overall well-being. One of the key concerns we have observed is the increasing amount of time students spend on mobile phones and other personal electronic communication devices during the school day. These devices distract from learning, disrupt the classroom environment, and often negatively impact mental health, peer relationships, and safety due to issues such as social media content, online messaging, and cyberbullying. To address this, effective Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, the Bermuda Public School System will be enforcing its mobile phone and personal device policy more rigorously. This means mobile phones and devices, including smartwatches, game consoles, and Bluetooth accessories, must be turned off and stored away before entering the school building. Devices cannot be turned on again until students leave the building at the end of the school day. The policy applies during the regular school day as well as during after-school programs and all co-curricular and extracurricular activities on school grounds. Please note that middle and senior school students may continue to use school-approved laptops, Chromebooks, and tablets required for learning. Limited exceptions will be made for students with specialized learning needs or medical requirements. We ask for your support in reinforcing these expectations. At home, working together, we can help create safer, calmer, and more focused learning environments for all students. I look forward to a successful year ahead and the positive outcomes this policy will bring to our school and students. Sincerely, Senator the Honorable Crystal C. Caesar, JP, Ministry of Education. Your question of the morning, audience, is what are your thoughts on the banning of cell phones and other electronic devices in schools? And should students be banned from using their personal devices during the school day? Do you believe that's a yes or no? Should students be banned from using their personal devices during the school day? Look, I'm going to sound very old in what I'm about to say. I'm going to sound very old in what I'm about to say. But back when I was in school, and I know some of you are more mature than me, meaning older, right? Wiser. But in my day, we could just about use calculators. And I know younger people are probably like, well, Jamal, times evolve and electronic devices are so much more than just going on social media and so on. I would love to hear the argument that can be made for students to need their personal electronic devices during school day. Think about it, folks. There are some companies, some jobs who don't even allow their staff internet access to news websites, let alone social media sites. I would love to hear the argument from a parent as to why these electronic devices should not be banned. To me, this is one of those bipartisan things where I feel like everyone will be in support of. But I'm curious, what are your thoughts, audience? Again, the letter from the Ministry of Education is that personal devices, such as mobile phones, smartwatches, gaming consoles, and Bluetooth accessories must be turned off before entering the school property and cannot be used again until students leave the property at the end of the day. This includes after school, extracurricular and co-curricular activities on school property. But I want to go a bit deeper, right? So, okay, the policy as of today, school, again, if you're just tuning in, no personal mobile devices. The minister's rationale, I agree with as well. It's a distraction from learning, right? And it can be very disruptive. I absolutely agree with the ministry as far as the mental health impact. We've talked about people and social media, Instagram in particular, right? They post this stuff, they look at likes and if they don't get a certain amount of likes, they delete it. And yeah, peer relationships, cyberbullying, You all have seen people in the memes online with the mother who was cyberbullying her daughter, and the school was trying to look at the cameras to see which students were texting during the time when the texts were being sent. And I appreciate the ministry's goal to create a calmer, safer, and more focused learning environment. I cannot imagine how worse off I would have been. I was already a distracted student, didn't want to be in school. I could only imagine. I mean, we just about had internet access. We just got internet access when I was in high school. Legit. So I could imagine the distractions there already. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're discussing the ministry's letter. The ministry has let parents know that this school year, they will strictly enforce a ban on mobile phones and personal devices in schools. All devices must be turned off prior to entering school grounds and will not be able to turn back on until they leave the property. The question of the morning: what are your thoughts on the banning of cell phones and other electronic devices in schools? And should students be banned from using their personal devices during the school day? Let's go to the audience. Anthony Richardson says, brilliant. Yes, ban them. Ban them. Tanya Cheeseman says, yes, in favor. Michelle White says, yes, using devices takes away from the in-school experience, especially play. Misha Fobler says, yes. Look, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. Politics aside, I'm surprised this was not done sooner. I am absolutely shocked this hasn't been done sooner, but that's not a criticism because I don't know the ins and outs, but I absolutely do not understand what could be outside of, and the ministry did recognize in their letter, they did recognize, because I want to be very clear, they did recognize in the letter that if there will be limited exceptions made for students with specialized learning needs or medical requirements. So there are, spaces. There's that little wiggle room for students with specialized needs or medical requirements. But for the life of me, this is one of the best things that they could possibly have done to improve the learning environment for students. But should students be banned from using their personal devices during the day? And what are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts? How do you think this will be helpful? Do you think this will improve the grades? Do you think this will improve the environment? Dawn Ferbert says yes. Dexter Smith says all in favor. Tanya Cheeseman says maybe before at high school, no. And he did not ask if it was good. Okay. Audience, I would love to hear the logic against this. And I know educators, you're probably not tuned in today, but if you're a former educator, how do you see this? Because like I said, when I was in, most people who watch this show, we didn't have cell phones like they are today. They weren't accessible to us as children, right? I was talking to a friend about it last night, and when I said, "Oh, this is going to be a topic," and as always, sending love to the Daily Hour community because this is yet another topic you sent last night and we're discussing today. So we do discuss things that are important to you. But I would love to hear the logic or the argument as to why this would be a bad thing. And honestly, if there's no argument, that tells me that all is not lost in our community. That tells me that sense, common sense, the betterment of our community still exists. And I don't say that to be disrespectful to anyone who may differ in opinion. I say it because I strongly feel that this is one of those things and one of the few things I expect that we'll all be in agreement with. Question of the morning is based on the ministry's letter, letter from the ministry signed off by the Minister of Education, the Honorable Crystal Caesar. is basically students, as of today, the public school system will strictly enforce a ban on mobile phones and personal devices in schools. Excuse me. Students must turn off and store away phones, smartwatches, game consoles, and Bluetooth accessories. Now, I know here in Atlanta, I don't know if it's all schools, but I know one school in particular, a friend was telling me, they can't even wear Bluetooth headphones, let alone have a cell phone. Now, that is banning all electronic devices. Well, I mean, in this, it included Bluetooth accessories. So obviously that would be headphones as well. Let's go back to the audience. Should students be banned from using their personal devices during the school day? Ellen K. Horton, Ms. Horton says yes. K.T. Tacklin says yes. Dexter Smith's hitting the nail on the head. He says the key thing is enforcement, same as policing all roads. This is it. So we know the ban's in place, right? Folks, there are laws in place, everyday laws. But the law, like the rule and the policy, no matter what it is only as good as the enforcement. I agree, Dexter Smith. Dr. Anthony Richardson says less distractions equals more focus on classwork and proper interaction with classmates and peers. Yeah. Tanya Cheeseman says, my voice note did not come out right. Oh, she was sending a voice note. I was wondering, Tanya, I was a bit confused. Michelle White says, I can guarantee that there will be students sneaking a peek. What would be the reinforcement in response? That needs to be clear also. Absolutely. I agree. And I'm glad we're taking the conversation there, folks. Because again, it has to be enforced. Tanya Cheeseman says it was tried at high school level before and it did not succeed. But why didn't it succeed? Tanya Cheeseman says in the US, they take the children's phones from them before they even enter the school and they get it back off school. Well, our colleague, Sancha actually shared in the group last night. She said, going to a Bruno Mars concert, they take your phones before you enter the arena or stadium. Well, when I was working with the Florida Panthers, we did that for certain shows as well. People had to store their devices in something so they couldn't take video or pictures. That may be something to enforce it. No, we all know there's always going to be ways. Some students may have burner phones or ways to get around that. But I think that probably would be one of the best ways to enforce it. All devices have to go in a certain locker prior to entering, and they can get them at the end of the day. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, does this policy apply to teachers and other school support staff? One of the issues that those of us who joined the workforce before these devices existed is that we don't know how to manage our devices. According to the ministry, Charles, this is for students. This is for students. It clearly states in the letter that it was for students. It's students spend on mobile phone and personal device. So it is for students. But I take your point, Charles. I take your point absolutely. Michelle White says, what is storeway? Will they have lockers? If left in their backpack in the open, could their device be stolen? More questions. Absolutely more questions. And hopefully we'll get the answers. Maybe we can reach out to some schools separately from the ministry and ask them how they're going to enforce it. Sheikha Rana says, some schools have students lock their smart devices, including watches, in their lockers, and they can get them at the end of the day. I'm gonna be honest with you, folks. I have a smartwatch. I have a Garmin. I love my Garmin. I don't do the social media on it. I don't look at emails. I literally just look at my steps and my heart rate throughout the day. I sleep in it because people always like, you sleep in it? Yeah, that's how you get true measurements of your health. You got to sleep with it for it to measure your sleep and give you a true understanding of your stress levels and so on. But smartwatches, I wonder if exceptions will be given for those with smartwatches that are not attached to their social media and stuff. I don't know. We've got Manuela John says, yes, she agrees with the ban. If there's an emergency, the school office should be contacted. Well, that's how we did it in my day, right? Dr. Anthony Richardson says, government needs to support teachers on the issue of enforcement. Parents may bully teachers into not enforcing this policy. You know, I had a friend who actually worked in the education system, and he said one of the reasons he got out was really because he didn't feel support from the ministry back then. And he said, you know, the school enforced something and suspended a student, and parent called Mr. Horton down at the ministry. Mr. Horton basically said, get this child back in school. And at the time, the person who was teaching just felt like, you know, we don't get any support. Government is focused on votes and we're focused on children's education. And it's unfortunate. But yeah, they need the support. Like the ministry just can't send out these letters. They have to support the educators and the schools in enforcing what they're putting out, right? So yeah. Michelle White says, wow, how did we manage back in the day? You know what? We were talking about a couple weeks ago, how we actually had to, like when I was in college, even though we had the internet by then, still had to go to a library and look in like encyclopedias and research and do stuff. Now you've got ChatGPT and you know, among other things, Copilot and Gemini and Grok and so on. Life has become easier, but then I ask myself, but has it? Because even if you found something in one book, you still have to cross-reference in others. Maybe I don't know. It's a different world. Time has evolved. Again, I think this is a great thing by the government. I think the government has done absolutely fantastic by putting this in place. Now they need to support the educators in enforcing it. Folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Dorian says, when it comes to enforcement, the authorities can keep them out of the prisons. How will they keep them out of schools? Oh, that's a good point, Dorian. That's a good point. That's a good point. And remember, a teacher's first job is to educate students, right? Rhonda Johnson says, if you overmanage or micromanage students and adults, you will never achieve the desired results. There should be rules, regulations, and policies and consequences pertaining to phones. Absolutely. I agree. Too many laws create criminals, right? I go back to when we had that discussion on this show where I was in favor of the police letting people know where they're going to be, and most people weren't. And I don't think the rule of law should be to criminalize people. It should be to help people, change behaviors. I think this rule or policy should be to change behavior, to get young people to focus. You feel me? Charles H. Jefferson II says, I believe we all need to learn how to manage our device time while in school or at work. When will they learn if we don't give them an opportunity to succeed and or fail? Just an opposing view. I appreciate that, Charles. Rhonda Johnson says, I don't support taking property from students. Well, I'll give you this here. I carry a concealed weapon. I can't take my concealed weapon in many places. I can't take it in restaurants. I can't take it in arenas. Can't take it in some grocery stores. That's my property, and I'm an adult. I'm not a student. And the reason I'm not allowed to take it in these places, even though I have the freedom to carry it where I want, is because they feel in their space, without it creates a safer environment. I may disagree with that. But unless you own the property, then you have to abide by the rules. Now, one may say, well, the students do own it. They're taxpayers. Students ain't paying their dang taxes. All right, it's your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure Trucking. Let's give them some love. We'll bring Maya in for the daily. our news break, and then we've got Keishon Wilson coming up from Freisenbruch with Get Insured, folks.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
One more thing before we bring Maya in. Suzanne Ingham says, I don't support taking kids' property either, Rhonda. I agree with you. Well, it's like an airport. You can't take stuff through an airport. So if you don't want them to confiscate it from you, guess how you avoid that problem? You don't take it to the airport. So if you don't want somebody taking a student's device, then there's one way to fix that. Don't take the device to school. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Let's bring Maya Palazzi in for the Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, Maya. You're much younger. I'm sure you had devices in school.
I have so much to say on this conversation and what everyone's saying. First off, I agree that you shouldn't be taking anyone's property. And children, most students do, or at least in my days, like we bought our phones. It's probably the big first purchase we ever bought ourselves. I did. But I couldn't tell you one bill that my mom ever paid for when it came to my phone. So that was all me. But also, when it comes to, like, they had that rule when I was in school. Plain and simple. This, what they're talking about now, it's kind of been around, but again, now they're saying they're going to enforce it more, right? I'm like, oh, that's going to be horrible for the teachers. Like, I feel so sorry for them. That's the first thought that came to my head. I feel so sorry for the teachers because now half of the class time's away, taken away just from settling students down, and now you're going to have this on top of it. I definitely have had my phone taken away in classes. I want to say twice. I've had my phone taken away from me. I can't remember when I got it back. I think one time I got it back right at the end of class. Another time it may have been taken for a week, but I think it may have been something else. I couldn't necessarily tell you, but I could also tell you that I definitely had a backup phone, as well. And this is like, again, I was in high school class of 2015. Now we're going up to class of 2025 about to graduate soon, right? So, they have the watches, they have everything in the possessions. And I've brought into the show, oh my dear, but like counselors and talking about the fact that these things are attached to us now. It's a part of us. So cutting it off cold turkey sounds a bit like cruel. Maybe having classes that, demand, hey, everyone now put your phones in here because we know that you have them. Just let's take a moment to be like off the grid for a second and like tune in and focus in. Things like that, per different classes, or even teachers can try to do that. Some probably already have that implemented in their classes, maybe. It sounds like a good idea in theory. Yes, we would love to have less phones and less time on social media, but we don't even put it into practice in our own community in terms of, and I'll bring it up all the time, we don't go to our public spaces enough. We don't connect intergenerationally enough physically. Like all those things that kind of take us away from these devices, we don't do enough of, whether it's in our own homes for one, or just in general when we go to events together as a community and be out there as a community. We don't really prioritize not being on our phones. It's been a big thing of everyone, big with your phones, take pictures, so we, to really trying to put it just in the school system, obviously it's needed there, but also to not have your phone at all. And they tried to do that at Cedar Bridge, where even after school, because I think it said also in after school programs to not have them. Please, that is the toughest thing you could try to do, is like after school we have our phones. I even remember, and I said this in my graduation speech at CBA, and so I feel like I'm talking a bit right now, audience, but feel free to give me your feedback. But even at my graduation speech at CBA that I recently did for the class, and I talked about how they tried to take the phones away after school from us, which I felt in my whole year felt like this is ridiculous. The school day has ended. We'll walk into these bus stops. You see us in the hallway with our phones. Why are you taking our phones? So I had everyone sort of line up at the end of the day to use the school office phone, since we can't use our phones, to call our parents or to call whomever to let them know, like, this is where I'm going next, or this is what I'm doing, because like now I don't have my own device. How am I supposed to reach my parents? So then you had a whole line of students waiting to use the phone at the end of the day, and that rule was swiftly taken away, and we could now have our phones out again at the end of the day, at least, So there will always be pushback on this. Again, I feel sorry for the parents. I do think that we need less of the phones in the schools, but there's a better way, I think, to go about it than to just go strictly cold turkey, knowing that every single person, everyone like has a phone, like, and it's going to be very hard to just separate them from it, especially at the end of the school day. Like, and you're saying like, well, don't bring it into
Well,
school.
let me ask you something, because I was one of the first people in my generation to have a cell phone. And I remember people saying, oh, yeah, a drug dealer, because only drug dealers had cell phones, apparently, or people work for themselves.
Way back.
Yeah. So you didn't have to do that. You didn't do that. But what? Speak to me about the advantages of having a cell phone when you were in school.
For me, the advantage of having a cell phone really, I guess it was just the new generation of life. I wouldn't even say necessarily an advantage, just like this is a trajectory of where we're going in our community. An advantage, I guess, would be easier communication. Obviously, to call my mom when I had the next practice, message my friends all the time, my sisters get in touch with me, really close, really quick, like sort of communication. Um, Instagram came out when I was in high school. That was probably my second or third year of CBA. But prior to that, we had, BBM, the messengers, things like that,
About
just talking to friends and talking to family. That was about it. It was just the communication part. And then Instagram came about, and then it was like, let's take pictures, let's post together, yada yada. I found it to be beneficial also for my sports. I'm big into sports media, and I was field hockey at the time, so I used to videotape myself a lot after school down at the field hockey pit with my phone, edit something real quick and put it up. I did actually get a university to reach out to my university about me playing field hockey but it happened way back then, and I feel like that's why I talk about like put yourself out there more as an athlete, because you could get more nowadays. But yeah,
We've got a question for you. Well, Charles says, I love the idea of teachers manage it in the classroom. Maya, I think blanket rules doesn't allow for proper management and usage. But I don't want people to miss what Maya said earlier. Like, you're literally giving the teachers another job. They already have enough to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want us to take into consideration that the ministers making the rules, but they're the ones that have to enforce it. And that's just another problem, and deal with parents about taking things and so on. So that is something to consider. But Michelle White has a question. Maya, why do people need to speak to you when in school?
I don't know, something could possibly happen. It's just a not natural thing to do now. Like, you're talking to your friend, the friend's like next to you, another friend probably wants to talk to you, and then that next to you, so then they message you, or let's say if my mom did want to reach me in school, sure, they'll call the office, and the office will call me, and then I'll go down to the office, those type of things. But again, that just takes up just a little bit of extra time. It's not right, not wrong. It's just, the extra time thing. And now I feel like she would just immediately message me if she could.
Like instant gratification, though. No, because
it's just instant connection. Like, it's annoying to know that people can reach you at any point and any time. I find that to be annoying, even today. Just like, oh, great, because I have a phone. You can reach me. Versus back in the day, I'll be out of the house. You can't reach me now. You have to. You gotta wait. That's really it. Really, there's not. It's like no right, no wrong. It's just we love to be able to communicate with people like so fast. This is just how we've kind of adapted in life now.
Okay. One last comment. Rhonda Johnson says, I think you're conflating issues as far as going to the airport or carrying a gun in a prohibited space. A gun's my personal device. That's what I use. That's what I carry on a regular basis, whether I'm going to the range to practice or whatnot. That's a personal device for some people. What I'm trying to get you to understand is the same way people look at their firearms or their things, that's how some people look at their cell phones. What you're not understanding, because you may not own one, is you don't see the issue as the same. I'm simply saying that there are rules in place in private environments, right? Now, I know the name is a public school, but on the public school premises, there are rules that you have to follow. Whether we agree with them or not, that's one thing. But when you enter a space, right? It takes me back to the nightclub. When I was back in my day, I actually did go, shake a leg every now and then, right? And everything we scream racism. If they said you can't get in with Tim's, if you can't get in with, you can't come in the club if you got a hat on, you can't come, like there were rules, right? And at the end of the day, we were like, that's discrimination. No, they have the right to tell people what's acceptable when you enter their premises or not. That's just the way it is. Rusty G has a dang well no phone cruise all the time. If you want to get on it, you have to put your devices in something. We may not agree with it. I'm just saying these things happen. I don't know. But I love a debate. I love this. This is going either way.
I can see both sides. I can see your side. I can definitely see Wanda's side too. Because when you
Yeah.
first said it, I was like, that is an extreme difference. But if you dig more into it, you kind of know, like, okay, wow, cyberbullying does lead to some extreme cases, which are detrimental to students, to parents, to families, to life. But yeah, I see your side and I see her side as well, because that was something that I was in the background saying, like, that's an extreme difference. But I can see some similarities.
Can I I know I did the news. We've got Keishon coming up from Freisenbruch. But this made me laugh because I thought I was ill, right? This brother talking about in my day, it was a beeper pager. If you had a beeper and were not a doctor, you were considered a drug dealer. Maya, you know what a beeper is, right?
Yes, I know what a beeper is.
I'm just saying. He took us back. Okay.
I watched the shows. No, but no, yeah, there's an interesting conversation. I'm gonna definitely keep an eye on it. Might even ask my audience over Media Mind and bring it back to you guys, see how they feel about it. But yeah, let's hop into the news break this morning, guys, because it's a good one that we're talking about the recent game. We got another one coming up. But good morning, good morning. This is your daily hour news break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. Any last minute gifts, skip the stress, from thoughtful cards to beautiful finds and fun extras. People's is your one-stop shop for those everyday, just what I needed moments. All right, so the Bermuda men's national team definitely went out on Friday night, and unfortunately they did lose their match. This was to Jamaica, and the word of the night from the players I got to speak with was disappointment as they headed off the field. But despite the results, the full stadium of pink and blue rallying behind the Gombe Warriors was a story in itself. One of Bermuda's most formidable players on the field, Naki Wells, was itching for a goal that night that never came in a game that he said would have been a pinnacle for his international career.
We had moments which we knew we would have, and we just weren't able to capitalize on those moments. We weren't able to take the chances that we did create, and the better side won tonight. For me, it would have been a pinnacle of my international career, of course, to get a victory over Jamaica. That's the first time I've actually played against Jamaica in all age groups. Disappointment. I had moments out there where I probably could have done better, probably could have got that goal that I was equally craving for. But look, there's some good players. I played against 75% of them in my career in England, so that should tell you how good of a group and squad they have, and they're not even at their full strength. So.
And also on the field was Harry Twite, one of Bermuda's youngest and brightest on the field, whom many in the comments of this show yesterday named him as their MVP, sorry, for good reason. So he has been an outstanding defender for Team Bermuda in recent games, showing dominance at just 20 years old. He marked the game, had little mistakes that led to unfortunate results, but that at a high level, it really does distinguish the good from the great. So here's what he had to say about his own performance during the night.
It's easy, to be overly critical on your performance after a game like that. But I think not just me, but everyone put in a lot of effort, and you can't ask for more than that, really, if everyone gives their best. I think there's certain scenarios where I could have done stuff different, like maybe getting a bit closer to my centre-back partner at times. But, as I said again, there's the little things separating those good teams and great teams.
For one, you guys did have this stadium full. I think it's the first time in years it's been this full. So how did that feel, though, on the backs of everything coming off the field?
It felt really good, to be honest. I couldn't talk to anybody there. No one could hear me on the pitch, which is it's a great thing that we had all the support that we had. And hopefully we can just keep on building from here, and it's not a one-time thing where everybody comes for this game, and we can keep up the numbers going into the second and third rounds.
So closing it out, this is just the beginning of the fixture. Bermuda has more games to go for this final round. So next up is Carousel, who our Warriors will be playing tonight at 9 p.m. Bermuda time. Wells reminds us we are just at the start, but there is a pretty long road to climb ahead.
Yeah, it's six fixtures in this competition. Apologies. So you can't lose it on the first game. You can't win it in the first game. But equally, we know we have to now go down to Curacao and try our best to get a result so that we're not trying to climb up a mountain for the remaining 4 fixtures, and it actually won't be in our hands anymore. But it's a young group, so their confidence may be affected by it, but our senior players, us experienced players will be there to help galvanize the group. We've also been here before. We've lost games here and we ran away and beat really good sides in our region, and I guess there's going to be a less element of pressure when we go down to Curacao, because it's not going to be 4,000 Bermudians chanting our names, and the pressure solely is on them. So we have to try and thrive in that situation.
I wish him the best. I hope that as he mentioned, the pressure to perform in Curacao tonight eases them a bit up, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they can bounce back.
Yeah, same. It's going to be a tough rally up, but we're looking bright, hopefully. All right, so looking like today's weather as well is going to be some bright and a sunny start, maybe a cloud or shower overhead as well. It's been on and off a lot down there in Bermuda, and you got a high of 86, so you're definitely going to feel that humidity. And just closing up one more thing with sport, we do have one athlete who is going to be at the World Athletic Championships in Tokyo, Japan, and that is Caitlin Bob. So congrats to her.
All righty. It's so many different days today, but I'm going to go. It's the Emergency Services Day. And I just want to say to people, if you know someone, a police officer, a paramedic, a firefighter, someone who you know is part of our emergency services, give them a shout today and just thank them for what they do. Real quickly, before we let you go, Maya, we did have a couple more. Jackson Smith said, there's no doubt our criminals are getting younger and younger. How did those organized crawls at CBA get organized last year? Harsh on the teachers and keen to learn how each school enforces. Organized crawls, all caught on video and widely circulated. This is an absolute must. And then Charles H. Jaffers, I don't know if he missed it earlier, but he says the policy assumes that devices are not as useful as they are or can be. Devices can be helped students to learn as well. Charles, I don't know if you missed that part. Not sure when you tuned in, but let me just reiterate for those who may have missed it. Middle and senior school students may continue to use school-approved laptops, Chromebooks, and tablets required for learning. So they're not taking away devices to help students learn. They're taking away personal devices. And Dr. Smith meant brawls, not crawls.
Okay, I was wondering. Okay.
I read it as it was, hoping he would do that. Maya, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Looking forward to hearing what the Media Maya audience has to say about this and discussing it further. But have a wonderful day.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, folks. Maya Palacio, do not go anywhere. We've got Get Insured coming up. We have Get Insured coming up. I'm excited. I love when Keishon comes on young, excited. I heard he plays a little cricket, and he brings energy. So talking about life insurance, and as I said earlier, last time he came on to talk about life insurance, a couple people like, I still don't understand it. How does it benefit me? And I'm like, it's about, it helps you help your family. But he's going to come on, he's going to discuss that. So do not go anywhere. In the meantime, if you are rocking with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, and we'll be back in a few. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Ready to take your financial game to the next level? HSBC is here to help you power up your financial fitness. Your strategy should be sharp and ready for anything, because luck won't get you to the top. Whether securing your future, growing wealth, or planning for life's next serve, HSBC's experts are here for you. From budgeting to investing, let's craft a plan as unique as your goals. Plus, get free financial planning consultations to stay on track. Learn more at hsbc.bm/financial planning. HSBC Bank Bermuda is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Get ready for the cool Bermuda nights ahead. A CI-AC mini split AC unit from BAC Group is the perfect solution, keeping you warm this winter and cool all summer long. While supplies last, you can get a unit starting at just $913.50. Plus, receive an extra 10% off when you pay with cash or credit card at the counter. BAC Group, comfort for every season.
SCARS stands for Saving Children and Revealing Secrets, and we are a Bermuda nonprofit organization whose mission is to reduce the risk of child sexual abuse and to be an advocate and a voice for children who've been sexually molested, as well as their affected family. New media like the Daily Hour is really important in partnering with organizations like SCARS. It's another platform for us for awareness. There can be no radio silence as it relates to child sexual abuse, and we need as many initiatives as we can get. We need to keep this message alive. In terms of us and the work that we do, live engagement is good because it allows the audience to ask questions, to make comments, even to provide us with encouragement and support. What I love about the live engagement when SCARS is being interviewed by Jamel is just this feeling of safety, this feeling that he gets it. He cares about children. It's a connection.
Welcome back to the big show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's give a warm TDH welcome. So a very special guest of the day. We've got Keishon Wilson coming on from Freisenbruch, folks. We're talking life insurance. It's going to help answer some questions that a lot of you always seem to have. Give him a TDH warm one. Keishon, welcome back. How are you, brother?
Can't complain, man. I'm happy to be here again. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you. Happy to have you. I've got to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Normally it'd be something fun, but yeah. I don't know how old you are, but when you were in school, was it the cell phone age yet?
It was. And I have had a few phones confiscated in high school. I think I might still have one somewhere up in the Lost and Found box at Cedar Bridge that I never got back. But I mean, listening to the conversation, I kind of agree that there does need to be something done. I mean, you can probably attest to yourself, when you're doing things that you're busy with, or when you get engaged into something that needs your full attention, you might tell yourself, hey, look, let me put my phone to the side because it's distracting me. So we have to kind of get, the children into the same mindset of maybe self-regulating their phone usage. But if that fails, then we have to kind of step in and do something ourselves.
That's a good point you just made, Keishon. And I'll be very honest with you. My phone's on silent all the time. So it lessens the distraction. But my business partner, she literally does, she has in her calendar, check my phone this time, or at least she used to. So she doesn't hold it at her hip. I think what you just stated is education. And that's how I used to feel about most things. Instead of rules and policies, education should supersede all of that. If we teach people how to get the best out of it rather than letting it get the best of them, we'd probably be in a better place. So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
No worries.
Well, let's jump into today's conversation. Always a pleasure having you all from Freisenbruch on. The audience seems to love you. And audience, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to send them. As I mentioned earlier, the last time you were on, we had people, and this is just being direct and honest, like, I still don't understand life insurance. I'm like, well, what didn't you understand that he said? It's not that I didn't understand what he said. I just feel like it's no benefit for me. And I'm like, and it is a benefit for you to help your family. But for those who think like that, let's start all over. Act like we've never had the conversation. in the most layman terms, explain exactly what life insurance is for people.
Okay, well, to understand life insurance, you have to know what insurance is. So, insurance itself, by itself, is basically you're transferring the risk of disaster, whatever that is, over to the insurance company, where you pay a lesser premium or lesser cost than the cost of the disaster itself if it were to occur. So, if we use the car as an example, we'll pay X amount of dollars a year for car insurance, so that if my $50,000 car, my $30,000 car crashes, I don't have to pay $30,000 or $50,000 to fix it or get a new car. The risk is transferred to the insurance company. So same with life insurance. The risk of disaster upon one's death is transferred over to the insurance company to foot the bill of what it is that they was going to achieve while they was alive.
Got you.
So transferring risk, basically.
It's very simple when you put it like that. An audience, just a yes or no. Just want to find out from those tuned in on stream, how many people have life insurance? Just a yes or no, whether or not you have life insurance. What are one of the main needs prioritized when discussing life insurance with someone?
Income replacement. So the first need that you would want to look at is, what is it that's going to be lost upon my death? And the number one answer is always going to be replacement of income. So if you look at yourself as the one who, okay, you buy the groceries, you have goals to put your children through school, you have a mortgage to pay, you have investment goals, saving goals, legacy goals, that's only going to happen if your income allows it to do so, if you live to foot the bill yourself. If something were to happen to you prematurely, you would need something to replace the lost income to ensure that all of the goals that you had and would have funded while alive still happens upon death. So basically, no one wants their goals to die when they do. You can replace your income upon death using a life insurance policy. So income replacement primary for sure.
Income replacement. But what about income potential? And I guess what is that? So that would that mean, like, let's say someone's 35 and they make 60,000, but they had the potential to get a raise in 5 years and would have made 100,000. Is that income potential?
Yes, that is income potential. Normally, when we calculate one's income potential, we would leave out the uncertainty or unknown as far as pay increases. We don't know when or if or how they'll get a pay increase or promotion, etc. But we do want to look at what someone annually makes today, put it into perspective over the next 10, 20 years, and see what type of value they're going to bring to the table, so that we know what type of value is going to be lost upon death. So that's how you would calculate. Income replacement is basically the amount that you have in insurance to replace the income potential. So one's income potential would be, let's say if they make, $50,000 a year for 10 years, they have an income potential over 10 years of $500,000. That's only going to fund their goals if they are alive to do it. If they die, the life insurance policy is going to replace the lost income and fund what their income potential would have achieved if they were living.
One of the things that, again, as we speak to people and people reach out about life insurance is, oh, I'll get it. I'll get it next year. Or I'll do it then. I mean, I was one of those people, right? They love to put it off. Why are you finding people are putting off getting life insurance?
Oh, so, I mean, yes, there's the lack of information, 100% misinformation. A lot of people, I think Bermuda is a place, and you can correct me if I'm wrong as a talk show host and the conversations you have, Bermuda is a place where a lot of times there are a lot of uneducated narratives that are seen as truth because of the person's, or because of the value that's held for the person, rather than the information or evidence supporting the information that they're talking about. So in Bermuda, we have a lot of misinformation going around there because people don't have the education to back what it is that they're talking about. They may just have a conversation they heard, at the bar or in the barber shop or something, and now they're running with the information. So misinformation for one. And also a lot of people take the surface of what it is that they find out and run with it. So you find a lot of people believe, insurance companies are doing this and that with people's money, and they would take things like that and run with it and be against the insurance company. But I guess I'm going to be careful how I say this, but there's a demographic of people in Bermuda who have a totally different mindset when it comes to products like these. They have educated, they are making educated decisions when it comes to these types of products. And I've learned a lot about my product just from them coming in and saying, hey, look, this is what I want. This is why. This is how I would like to achieve this. This is what I know about this. And this is how I would like to do it. Where we have on the other side of the coin, a different demographic of people who are, no, not me. It's a waste of money. The insurance companies are stealing the money and I can do it all by myself. And, I don't need this and that, or I have this going on, and it's really just a narrative that I think is really just something that I think we need to change when it comes to how we look to acquire information and why. I think I saw something online the other day, I was speaking about, if we fought as hard to understand things as we fight as hard to disagree with stuff, it would be a much better place, and we'd have a much more educated community when it comes to things. Even if you don't agree, there's still understanding underneath, your disagreement that a lot of us are missing out on because we don't take the time to dive a little deeper and we stay on the surface level of stuff.
I appreciate you. It felt like you got up out of your comfort zone to really share a truth as to what you're trying to do. And what you're trying to do is educate people. And you said a lot of vulnerable things just now, how you're learning from your clients who may be a certain demographic to try to educate another demographic. Again, I champion my mother. My experience, I've heard from my sister under me, was very different in terms of the conversations my mother had with me about pension and life insurance. I was alive when my mom worked at Argus way back in the early 80s. But in saying that, I have an appreciation for what it is, which is why as an adult I've had life insurance. And everything you just said helped me understand why it's not just a job, it's something you believe. But why do you seem to care? Because when you spoke just now, it felt like, no, I'm putting my professional hat aside and I'm going to make it personal, right? Why do you care so much about getting this information out there?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that. And I think, my first few years in the life insurance industry, it was more of a fascination for me, learning it, understanding it. And I've always been the type of person that's a bearer of good news. So if I figure something out that I think is helpful, or I think that someone should know, I'm going to break my neck to kind of, hey, look, you guys, this is what's going on. This is what they're doing. This is what we can do to get ahead. This is what, this is what's out there, basically. And it wasn't until my father passed away and I was directly involved as the primary person responsible for dealing with his last expenses. Something clicked in me, because I used to not want to bother people with the information. I would prefer to talk to people who want to be spoken to. I would not, overextend myself to, what, if you don't want to know, is not really my issue at this point. But since my father passed and I had to experience it directly, it has become a lot more personal. I am a little bit more, I would say, aggressive in ensuring that the community understands exactly what it is that's going on and why. And I don't feel as, let's say, sorry as I used to for bothering people with the information. It's more of I have to do my part to ensure that we have the tools and the information to make better decisions. And we're not just sat on the surface level. We have to dive deeper. There's a lot of children, there's a lot of people in Bermuda dying at a young age for this, that, and other reason. It could be bike accidents. It could be, violence in the streets. It could be a number of things. And I see it all of the time. And I think if my vision of what I believe the community can do whilst using these tools, if we were to start to dive into it a little bit better, I think in the next 20, 30, 40 years, we would see a totally different Bermuda when it comes to the community around us. You know, we would see something catastrophically different when it comes to the finances, the things that we are able to do because we have, you know, specific resources and tools available. It would just change the game completely, in my opinion. So I've become more passionate, and I don't know if unapologetic's the word, but I'm a little less apologetic about, you know, putting my footprint in the community and letting people know that these things are important, and I'm passionate about getting the information out there. I'm going to do everything I can to help.
Indeed. Thank you for that. And I did ask earlier how many people in the audience had life insurance. Most that responded: Shawnette Bell, Marquita Lee, Tanya Cheeseman, Pamela Witt, Stacey Ann Brown, Stacey Tark, Anika Shields, all said yes. But Nicole Walker said yes, 2 policies. Speak about 2 policies. What's the benefit of having multiple life insurance policies?
Well, the 2 different types of policies that we have do 2 totally different things. So we have the term insurance, which I think is most people's primary need, especially the younger you are, to replace the income. So the cost associated with replacing the income potential of someone who's going to make $1 million is very low. So you can replace your income at little or no, like very little cost, to ensure if anything happens against the script, everything you wanted to do is protected. And then on the flip side of the coin, we have the creation side of life insurance with the whole of life. So that's more designed for last expenses. You know, what's going to be the case after my mortgage is paid off, or after I've put my kids through school, or now that my kids are adults and they don't need or depend on my income. I just want to make sure that my burial costs and all of the bits and pieces that I'm going to leave behind are dealt with. So for people who are not great investors, having a whole of life policy along with a term policy maximizes the amount of replacement income if something happened prematurely, but also leaves something permanent for last of expenses at the end of the day once your term expires. Another example is some people would have 2 term policies. So you would have a term policy designed to replace income or replace, you know, your children's education needs or the education fund that you was going to do that still needs to happen. But then separate to that, you might have a mortgage for 25 years at $500,000 that needs protected outside of your other goals that you have. So you can't have multiple policies as long as they financially make sense and the need is there. It just depends on the person and what their goals are.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that, Keishon. We've got Charles H. Jefferson II. He says, yes, I have life insurance enough to pay off homes, cover funeral expenses, and a little extra. Let's talk about that a little bit because everyone's situation is so different. I'll choose a scenario. A person who has no children at 40 and a person who has 2 children at 40. What would be some recommendations for either or?
So someone who has no children at 40, they don't have dependents, well, immediate dependents. Depending on what their family dynamic is, they may have someone who depends on their income. So their need might be a little less. But what we don't want to take away from people when it comes to the life insurance need are your goals and ambition. So for someone who doesn't have kids, and believe it or not, if say for someone who doesn't have kids, you can leave your life insurance proceeds to whoever, whatever, for whatever. So you can have charity as a beneficiary. You can have, any charitable organization, any type of family member that you would like to help. So if you don't have kids, but you have nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles that have things going on, if there's something that you can do to help, there's really no one size fits all. They just would have a lower need for the product than the other person, and they maybe want to look at it from a goal-based perspective or a legacy-based perspective rather than a protection perspective. Someone who has 2 kids, depending on the age of their kids and also the goals that they would like to have for their kids. So what does education look like? How old are they? Are they still under the age of 10 and you plan to put them through private school and school extended past high school? Then your need was going to be a little bit higher because of school tuition costs that needs to be funded if you're no longer here. You know, if you're going to put them through public school and you don't foresee education extended past high school, maybe your need is a little bit lower based on the goals that you have. So it really depends on what it is that you would like to achieve and why as a person, and what would be the best way to go about ensuring it still happens if you were no longer here, if your income was no longer here.
Man, I want to have so many, like, we have to finish out because I have some more scenarios for you, but I know you'll be back. But let's talk about advice. I mean, Keishon, I just know, and I'm probably gonna email it if one comes through today. But I know someone's gonna email with a question, but something that I can't answer. But what's the best advice that you can give someone who knows nothing about life insurance?
The best advice is to come and have a conversation with me. You know, I am very passionate about the education aspect of the product. I think once you get somebody to understand the product enough, it's gonna click in their head already what it is that they feel that they need to do based on what it is they have going on. So the first thing anyone can do is come have a conversation with someone who knows what they're talking about. At the end of the day, having enough information to make the right decision is the best way to move forward in life with anything. So if I can do my part to fulfill you with the tools, the education, the knowledge that you need to make your own decisions when it comes to the product, then that's the best way to get this stuff, out there and done. I'm not a hard salesperson. I'm not the type of person to force people to buy things or do things that they don't want to do. But I do feel like having the right information and having the right conversations will prompt you to take ownership and make decisions based on what you have going on and what you would like to achieve in life.
Got it. Got one last question from the audience. Marquita Lee is asking, can you increase a policy?
So you can increase the current contract of a policy. There are riders that you can put on a policy to get extra insurance later on in life without medical evidence, but you also can have more than one policy. So say, for example, if your income increases or if you do acquire the mortgage, like we touched on earlier, you can take out another policy to align with whatever your needs are at the time. So that could be an example of increasing your coverage, but you may need to use a separate policy to do so. So you can increase your coverage, yes, but not the same policy contract.
Keishon, thank you for this. And you said just reach out. So folks, if you've been watching on stream, you can see scrolling at the bottom. His name is Keishon Wilson. He is a senior life and pension sales advisor at Freisenbruch, and you can reach him via email at, is it kwilson@fm .fm group. It's K Wilson at fmgroup.bm, or give him a call at 294-4616. Keishon, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for making time to engage and do this. And hopefully they'll be knocking you down to learn more.
Yes, of course. I hope so as well.
Have a wonderful day. Talk soon.
You too. Have a good one.
All right. Keishon Wilson, folks, from Freisenbruch. If you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Do not go anywhere. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back. I'll give my final thoughts on this morning's discussion, as well as the conversation with Keishon, but also got a daily play. And it's a remember when, and it's Bermuda related. So do not go anywhere. Don't let yourself down. Stick with us.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's loan guarantee program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Milwazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
PALS is a cancer care charity. We started 45 years ago. What started as a charity with a half-time nurse, and basically just assisting patients going home from the hospital, but patients dying at home. We now, 45 years later, have 6 nurses, a social worker, and a palliative care physician. I know a lot of people that watch the Daily Hour every day, so it's just educational. It helps you know more about specific charities or specific organizations, and kind of get the nitty gritty as opposed to just seeing a flyer on social media or just hearing or seeing a commercial. I think it's more beneficial. Like if I'm on the radio or on TV, I'm just like telling you what I think you want to know, but you might have specific questions that I can answer directly. I think it's much better having the live engagement.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Keishon Wilson and Freisenbruch for another segment of Get Insured. Hope you all continue to find it helpful, ask questions, and if you haven't already, whatever platform you may be streaming on, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Bermuda Trivia is now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, are you ready? It's a remember when. All right. Audience. Care Learning Center, which was founded by Dr. Nalitha Butterfield in what year? Care Learning Center was founded by Dr. Nalitha Butterfield in what year? Well, Nicole Walker and Stacey Ann Brown at the buzzer. At the buzzer. Yes, 1983. You know what? That means I'm older than Care Learning Center. Wow. Gee, I'm old. Yes, it was 1983, and so many people have come through CARE's program in so many different ways, very beneficial to Bermuda and Bermudians. So big shout out and props. They're still going strong around at CARE. All right, folks, let's wrap it up. Regarding the conversation earlier, I'm going to read these comments from Dexter Smith. He says, nice topic, Jay. I'm certain those brawls widely circulated on social media from CBA bathrooms where one kid was knocked out cold was at the heart of this. Kudos to the ministry and the BPS if consulted. Says that had to be the last straw. Us as adults and parents have to see this as a necessary evil to help save and better focus our children. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what videos Dexter Smith is referencing. I don't get those kind of videos. I know I'm in media and, some things may come across us, but I have not seen them. I don't even want to see them but I'm going to trust what you're saying, obviously, and believe it. And hopefully this does help lessen that, because it's nothing like people feeling more powerful because they can beat somebody up and know it's going to be recorded to show others that they can fight or whatnot. At the end of the day, I think what we all want is what we believe is best for Bermuda. And to get, what's best for Bermuda, you have to prepare young people who are going to be the leaders of Bermuda going forward. Yeah, I think I have to agree with Dr. Smith. I know it seemed extreme, the carrying thing, but again, it's a device to certain people. I mean, I've been lucky enough to live in very different situations beyond Bermuda, big cities, small towns, and people value things very differently where they go. But when you enter spaces in which you don't own, where you sometimes have to abide by policies and rules, and some policies and rules may seem unfair. They may seem very unfair. But at the end of the day, if there's a need or you have to go onto this property for something, then at times you have to abide by them. Again, I appreciate those who oppose taking people's property from them, but it's not like it's being taken without them knowing what the consequences are. They've been told not to do this. And if you're told not to do it, then it's no different from me in the regiment. They said I had to go and I chose not to go. What were the consequences? Arrest, right? There are consequences to it. I may not have agreed with the law, but the consequence of going against the law was arrest. That makes sense? I hope that makes sense. As far as the conversation with Keishon, look, I got life insurance last year because of Freisenbruch. I'm going to sit here and be very frank and honest with you. I did. It's something I had prior to going to graduate school, but had to take that policy and use to pay for graduate school at the time. It's something my mother had told me about when I was very young, pensions and life insurance. And like Keishon, who said he lost his father, I'm losing my mother. She made sure her children were okay. And I hope that if you know anyone, I mean, it seems like our audience is pretty educated about life insurance, but it's not just about us as individuals. How about our family and friends? Do they know? Do they have policies? It makes a difference. It makes a difference whether or not you have a life insurance policy when you're no longer here. Don't burden others. All right, I've got to give you some daily inspiration. Folks, the best I can tell you, none of us really are all going to be in favor of all laws, rules, or policies. We have to pick our poison. What is worth fighting for and what isn't? What's worth giving our energy to and what isn't? We're responsible for our stress levels a lot of the time. And I'll tell you, sometimes instead of just fighting back, we kind of need to comprehend and digest what it actually is that's being put in place or taking place. It's much better understanding sooner rather than later. And then looking back and saying, wow, I was wrong. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.